Hello everyone, it's Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies of Your View. Hello ladies.
Hi.
How y'all doing? Abiajilu, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. So when I got home yesterday, I had to look through my website because I decided to start sorting out my businesses. I need to know the businesses I'm doing. I need to know how to make money from my businesses. I need to organize myself properly. So I went through my website. I was trying to work on my website so that at least people can, book the coaching services from my website as against sending me DMs on IG
or email,
or sending WhatsApp messages. Yeah, so you have to follow the proper channel because this is a business I'm doing. Then I looked through the projects I had at hand. And I was like, okay, how do I divide myself? How do I, just more like to have a balance, yeah.
You're
so
organizing yourself.
I was organizing myself, yes.
Cool, nice. Mariam, Naomi Campbell, how are you?
I'm fine, please don't let Naomi Campbell come for us.
How are you though?
I'm fine, thank you. So, for me, I just heard that there's a new planet that may have been discovered. Did you guys see that news? And it looked like it has water on it, so it shows that life may... You may find something that has life, on that planet. So maybe in a few hundred years, some of us will migrate to that planet.
We'll be dead by then.
No.
We're looking. We're not talking about ourselves. Yeah. When we think, we need to think beyond ourselves. We need to think the next generation. So when people have spoiled this place with pollution and whatever, maybe you have an extra planet.
The same human beings, they're going to spoil that place too.
How you doing?
I'm good. So I went to Ibadan and I was supposed to just go and rest though. But I'm putting together a makeup training in Ibadan in 2 weeks' time. And I know that I was going there to rest, but a friend of mine has a location where she does fashion designing, and there's a place she wants me to put a studio in. So I told her that before jumping into having a studio branch in Ibadan, let me start doing trainings first. So for those that want to learn makeup in Ibadan, I'll be doing the makeup training in Ibadan, and I'll be posting the pictures today.
Fantastic.
So let's expand because we keep looking at Lagos, and you might be complaining that Lagos is small.
When the real money is outside.
The
real money is out there.
Yeah, so we're going to Ibadan for training,
fantastic.
and I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
Mariah, what are you opening?
I'm not opening
birthday. You have someone's shout out, birthday shout out.
Oh yeah! Yes, I'm helping Nima.
Okay, Nima.
So Nima's senior colleague, Mr. Theo Obodo, he's a lawyer. His wife, Ijeoma, actually asked Nima to give a shout out. But unfortunately, Nima is on the show today, so I'm helping Nima to give a shout out to Mr. Theo Obodo. His wife was wishing him a happy birthday. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Theo Obodo. Congratulations and many more years. On that note,
I'm Rayo.
What are you opening?
Me, honestly, I have quite honestly.
You don't tell us
in the past, I'm going back to school. By God's grace, I'm nurses. I should start school very soon. But aside from that, I've been getting so many gigs. It's like I asked God for open doors, and God is like really opening the floodgates. And I'm thankful. I'm just trying to organize myself. There's quite a few things on my table, and I'm grateful to God for them. So
awesome.
I'm getting busy. I'm really happy about being busy. That's my story. But let's go on a break. It's Thursday. So much to gist about. But first, let's go through the front pages of the newspapers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Right, we're going to start with the Punch as usual. Presidential poll, PDP hits judges as tribunal throws out Atiku's petition. Picture here of 187 Nigerians return. South Africa employs rules to stop hundreds. Quacks perform surgeries in Ekiti private hospital, says commissioner. How police killed 2 Federal University of Ekiti students, says SUG president. Burata and Fayemi disagree over security vote spending. Abacha family have sympathizers in Buhari government, says Adoke. FEC OK 7.2% new VAT rate. Buhari approves panel on salary review, and Saipem Chiyoda, they will win $10 billion NLNG Train 7. Lots of stories. Yeah. Let's start with the quack doctor.
Yes. So I have the story. This happened in Ekiti State. Dr. Mojisola Iyaya Kolade, the Ekiti State Commissioner for Health. I think they have a quack, anti-quack committee, and so they decided to visit the private hospitals in the state, in Ekiti State, and they found people giving injections were not nurses. They found a quack having a cesarean section for patients, and according to them, they identified some of this before, and they closed about 2 hospitals, but those ones took out the seal and reopened the hospitals. So they're trying to find a way that they can close all of those hospitals that employ quack, private hospitals, and then find a way to enlighten people so that you can differentiate. Yes,
still more negative stories from Ekiti, because this Federal University of Ekiti, the SUG president was saying that 2 students were killed by the police. You know, after the incident that happened with the governor's wife. Yes. According to the SUG president, he was called to the police station for a meeting, and they were supposed to then go to see the governor or see the governor's wife. And then at some point, they saw the CSO. While having the meeting with the CSO, they were hearing gunshots outside. Yeah. They then found out that 2 of their colleagues were killed. Yes. Now, this story is getting messy. And it's important we get an official statement from the government. I know the governor's wife has actually responded to give an account of exactly what happened in her own view. Yeah, so however, we still need to hear from...
Okay, so what she said is that at the time she got into that town, she was told that the students were having a peaceful protest. Right. But that by the time she got into town, there was nothing like that happening. Women and children were just singing. It was a peaceful atmosphere.
Well, afterwards.
It was after she left that she heard that this happened, but no shots happened while she was there. On the tour. She
observed that her former convoy was vandalized, the vehicles were vandalized and all that.
So there are contradictions to the story.
As I said,
took yesterday was
it's getting messy.
We said she was taken out and in a commando style, so they should confirm, align their stories properly, and let's have the truth.
Nigerians that are back home. Yeah, so 187 out of the 320 Nigerians are back home. They're saying that the South African government really tried to frustrate them. Flight, they had like a 15-hour delay. So there's no specific reason.
Let me tell you the reason why. The reason why they delayed was because they're trying to stop the Nigerians, saying that trying to figure out how they got into South Africa in the first place. Okay. So they're out of the 320. Yes. They detained quite a few, saying you're going out without a document. You've got to. How did you come in the first place? So they arrested those to find out exactly, investigate how they got into the country in the first place.
But that's a good thing. That's a good thing because
the Nigerian government had already said they would give them travel documents regardless.
No. I cite this South African side because you need to understand where the problem is coming from, because they have to prevent other people from taking that same illegal route these guys used. Every country must protect their own territory.
Okay, thank you. We had people taken out. I'm happy that we did it decently. They got on the plane and they are back home. And I think the government is going to give them 40,000 naira.
Is it 40 or 10?
No, 10,000 naira for transportation, 40,000 naira for their calls.
Bank of Industry will support them, and also international company organization that will support them for whatever business. So don't dramatize this matter. Moving on to The Nation. Atiku adamant as tribunal opposed Buhari's victory. 187 Nigerians returned from South Africa. We talked about that already. Court clears Duke after paying 350 million naira. FG raises VAT to 7.2%. Only 1.7% workforce is in the pension net. And FIRS recovers 97.7 billion naira from tax defaulters. So the Buhari Atiku victory, this is, let me give you the highlights, pretty much what the papers are saying from The Nation. Right. The highlights of the ruling is as follows. Number 1, Buhari eminently qualified to run, according to the judges. Results not transmitted to server. No evidence of electoral irregularities. PDP Atiku failed to prove allegations, and Atiku, not from Cameroon, is a non-issue. So pretty much, in a nutshell, what they're trying to tell us that the allegations that was brought against Buhari, as long as it was within the Electoral Act, there was really no issue to... Everything was...
So FIRS... Okay, FIRS is saying that they raised 97.7 billion from defaulters, from tax defaulters, and they were able to do this through their various exercises like the Special Tax Audit, VAID, Special Investigation and Banking Turnover Initiative. They also said they have made banks and other financial institutions like tax collectors, and failure for the bank to do that would, be the same as committing an economic crime. So if you're a defaulter and you have accounts in the bank has the right to take out monies meant for FIRS from that bank, or that bank will be delisted. That's how they do it.
Moving on to Vanguard, we have to move on.
It's only in the Duke story is only in The Nation, and Donald Duke had his assets seized. because he was owing money. His house and businesses were seized. His properties, his accounts was even closed down. He's been able to pay 350 million naira and he's been cleared. So he was totally owing.
Owing the state.
He was owing, no, he was owing banks.
Government.
He was owing banks, but the government has claimed, AMCON claimed the debt and impounded his account. But right now he's paid a sum that will be total. So out of 37 million, he has paid 350 as final payment. So
I'm happy that we're even seeing that somebody is obeying and paying.
Yeah,
But have you seen this kind of stories?
It took him such a long time to get to this point, and then it took him really short time to raise
because
350
they could negotiate. Sometimes when you get to that stalemate, they'll negotiate. They'll be willing to come down for him too, because they came down
At least one politician has paid.
Yeah.
At least we are happy. That's a good thing. Moving on to Vanguard, Buhari floors Atiku. Removing security votes will be inimical to development cause chaos, says governors. FG raises VAT to 7.2%. Murder of Undu professor killings must be brought to book. Killers must be brought to book, says the family. And South Africa's immigration harass and detain returnees. Let's talk about the VAT for a second, then we'll go to the
So after the
votes.
FEC meeting, which happened yesterday, the Minister of Finance came out to tell the correspondents that VAT will be increased from 5% to 7.2%. And one of the reasons they're doing this is because they know that the VAT actually goes, 15% goes to the federal government, 85% goes to the state and the local government, and we're trying to see how we can generate revenue to be able to afford the minimum wage. Yes, and that's one of the reasons. But then it won't commence until after they've had negotiations with the National Assembly and the populace.
Because there's a VAT Act, and that must be reviewed before it's implemented in 2020. Fantastic. Okay, let's take the
Kayode Fayemi, the NG
governor.
The governor Kayode Fayemi, representing the Nigerian Governors Forum, was speaking at the Anti-Corruption Academy of Nigeria. He was addressing the rising clamor for the government to take away security votes from the governors. And he said that contrary to the belief that security votes has been aiding corruption, it hasn't. And it wasn't a tool from the military, because people are thinking that the military brought it in so they can do whatever they want with a particular sum of money without any investigation, or it can be scrutinized. And he's saying that it wasn't by the military. He quoted many historical data about Nigeria, saying that this has been on since inception in Nigeria to enable the governors carry out activities that we don't need to always get permission for. He was across many countries.
He was actually responding to Buratai. Buratai was actually insisting that the security vote was totally unconstitutional, and the fact that it must be properly audited, because they are already these law enforcement agencies, and they're the ones.
He said it is not unconstitutional. The Constitution supports it, and he said that if they request for, he can speak for Ekiti. Right from when he's been in that decision, that every security vote spent was detailed.
I made some points that I thought were quite interesting, where he says that there are funds for the military as well as the police, so they already have funds to take care of those issues. And the security vote has always been, because the governors have immunity clause, there's also been the risk of them using that for,
because nobody audits it. And we always talked about that security vote not being audited.
Use the security votes for.
In Lagos State, they mentioned that most of the support for police was carried out by security votes.
And private sector. A lot of them. But many states also, you can't argue the fact that we know that there must be maybe they should insert a clause that would allow an external body. That's what Buratai is saying, that it must be properly audited.
He's not saying they should not audit. He's saying that they don't remove it. People are saying remove.
Well, that's I think we should make it a topic, because actually it's very arguable. People actually think that it should be stopped totally and completely. Okay, moving on to the Nigerian Tribune. Buhari defeats Atiku at tribunal. Fire got NNPC depot in the Ibadan. Fuel tankers burnt. FEC OK 7.2, increase in VAT. And I think, let's find a story we haven't taken. Nigeria borders will remain closed until Abe's faction rejects Rivers APC proposed world congresses. Let's talk about the Costa.
Our borders, follow up with the story yesterday, because we spoke to the PRO yesterday, and right now we've had a statement from Ahmed Ali, who is the that's Colonel Ibrahim was representing Ibrahim was representing his Controller General, and he mentioned that these borders will be closed. Speaking in Maduguri border, So they also closed down Maiduguri border, saying that until contrabands from foreign countries stop entering Nigeria, the borders are closed. So there's no time frame. So people that are thinking that they will still very soon resume their business in smuggling, whatever it is, they are not stopped. This is not going to end anytime soon. It is permanently closed down until, as in partially permanently closed down, until contrabands and goods that are not meant to come into Nigeria stop coming in.
And you know that they also said that the other countries and neighboring countries have to meet with their rules and regulations in allowing contraband to get into our country. So they're going to have to sign agreements going forward.
We already have agreements of
they have to
that they're not even enforcing.
Okay, the NNPC who has at the depot.
Yes, so the depot in Ibadan, fire gutted about 4 tankers while one was loading and just caught fire. About 3 just behind, a few meters behind, caught fire as well. But one of them was able to escape, so we just had about 5. But luckily, the FRSC and then the NNPC officials were in that environment and they were able to take out the fire.
We have to run off now, but let me just quickly take Daily Sun. There's a story there that caught my attention. We collected 5.5 million for ABU students, 20 million for Turkish citizens. What's that about? Who has that story?
Yes, I have the story. Okay. So it's a kidnap. The police force headquarters yesterday paraded 58 suspected criminals of various criminal activities, kidnappers, people who do one chance, you know, when you get into a bus and So about, some of them confessed to have kidnapped the 3 ABU students, which happened recently, and they said they collected 5.5 million before they released the students. They also collected about 20 million before they released the Turkish citizen that was kidnapped recently. And, you know, they just gave their confessions. I'm happy that the arrests are being made. Let's see how prosecution follows.
Fantastic.
About the money they make, though.
Unfortunately, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, we have a few hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So growing up as young ladies, premarital sex was always preached against by our mothers to preserve a woman's dignity. So they tell us, don't go into those kind of promiscuous behaviors because it's wrong. Today, however, the reverse seemed to be the case, as many young people still engage in promiscuous activities and then still at some point get married. So the conversation today is, a lot of young people are asking, you're asking us to be pious. You're asking us to remain virgins, unquote, till we get married. But we're seeing those who are not taking that route, and they're finally getting married. And we are here still in church or still in the mosque, believing that the right person will come. And our counterparts who are living the life, going to Big Brother house, spending 90 days, doing all they can do, come out and they're getting married. What are you preaching? Have you tested this value that you're asking us to do? This is a conversation a young person, a young 22-year-old young lady had with us recently. So she is a churchgoer and she's a church worker. And she's there doing what we ask her to do. And then she's seen somebody out there doing so. That's what brought us to this conversation. What are we preaching today? And how do we advise this young person who is getting confused on what she's been told growing up versus what she's seeing today? And that's why we are discussing this today.
Yeah, they lied to us when we were growing up.
You think so?
Plenty lies. No, but they lied to us because our parents didn't understand how to address the issue of sex.
Let me invite our callers. You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Yes, go ahead.
So many parents, many of our older generation parents, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, most of those our parents didn't understand how to discuss morality with their children, so they lied. If they touch you, you get pregnant. Mm-hmm. If you have sex with multiple women, you have STDs. It was a way to use fear to sort of prevent you from trying. And we created false claims like that would just keep us away. Then a lot of people now sampled the opinion because it was so like hard cut. That, oh, if you do abortion, you will not have children. Oh, if you have multiple sexual partners, no man will marry you. If you go to the club, any man that meets you there will not marry you. Some of these things were said with good intentions, but they were not, they're not true. They happen in cases, but they were not true. There were a bit of lies in it. So I can't touch you and you get pregnant, but many girls used to think that was true. So over time, because people have sampled it, you know, people have tried out stuff and it didn't turn out as bad. Those advice now seem like, hey, you're just trying to copy from living my life. People now went to the opposite realm of it. We now have that large population of people that are just experimenting on everything.
I don't want in any way for us to project or promote promiscuity. We're not trying to say that's not the way. We all know that. But at the same time, I want us to have the real conversation. How do you advise a 22-year-old girl who still hasn't been there, hasn't done anything, and is just being obedient to her parents? And she's thinking, okay, I don't go to parties, I don't club, I don't do all the stuff I wanted to do, not because my parents asked me not to. But I'm seeing those who are doing it, and they seem to be settling down and having a good life. So what would you tell that kind of person?
Okay. So first of all, you said she's a Christian girl. So we have to bring her Bible and talk to her. So based on Christianity, which is a religion that I practice as well, promiscuity is wrong. It's a sin. You will go to hell, you know, if you sin that way. So you should get that. And that when our parents tell us, advise us that way, they're telling the truth. Simple and short. It's a sin and it's bad. But as Tokwe is trying to say, maybe the consequences of it, not the hellfire now, like practically while you're living, the consequences may be a bit over-exaggerated. So usually you're told that if you do not keep your virginity, you will not get a man who would marry you. But we live in a time where we have heard men say they don't even want a virgin for them to be with. But I think practically it's better to wait than to be involved in it, because there's something about sexual relationship. It beclouds your judgment. So that's if you're looking for a serious relationship. If you're looking to be with someone you want to spend your life with, you need to make sure that you put things aside that would not allow you see the person truly for who the person is. Yes, for who the person is. And sex has a way of doing that, where you're having so much fun, you're not seeing the negative. You're not seeing this negative. And I feel that it's even more men that fall into this trap than women. Men, you know, they talk about how they think more with their downstairs than with their upstairs. So you find yourself now, you're in a marriage with someone who you don't really connect with. She's not your partner. You cannot have a conversation with, because now you're in a marriage, and that thing that was exciting.
You know, when this person came to me, and I'll come to you, Biagio, to hear your thoughts. When this person came to me, because she was actually referencing the lady that just got married from Big Brother house. Bam Bam. She kept going at, but see all the things she did. And I tried to make her understand that there are always exceptions to the rule. Yes, we respect and we advise that you keep yourself. But sometimes there are exceptions.
Some people get away with it. Yeah. So much.
So those are the exceptions.
So what is playing out right now is the fact that what I'm going to say now, a lot of people will not understand it. But the very few that would understand it, please just listen. There is no good or bad, right or wrong in the universe. The universe is neutral. But our labels is what gives it that good or bad as a way for human beings to control the environment, to control themselves. And if you go back in time, you see that there were communities that, you know, promoted that chastity. You have to be chaste to get into the marriage. You go to other climes and you see that there were communities, even back in the day, that promoted you must have been tested before you get married. They must be sure that you can be able to carry a child before you get married. And those societies saw everything they were doing as good. So when you bring that other society to the next society, they perceive what you're doing as evil or as bad, because that is not our style. And that is how the world works.
So based on our style?
Yes, that's how the world works. Now, a young girl who sees another person doing all of these so-called bad things and then lands with a good man will now feel, but why was I told to keep myself when those people who are not even keeping themselves? The problem is we have told them to keep themselves without a reason. We have dangled marriage as the carrot, the prize of keeping yourself, which is not supposed to be. So as a young person, I would tell you, keep yourself for who you are. For yourself.
I like that point, yeah.
It shouldn't be because you want to get married. Whether a man comes or not, it's for yourself. It's for your sanity. It's a way so that you don't corrupt your memory. It's for your, it's serious.
So you can be rational when the man comes to know, okay, do I really want this person or no?
For you, so you have that.
Many people keep their self for themselves, and they meet a man they love, and they actually genuinely think it would work out, and it happens with that man. And for some reason, because we live in a society, in a patriarchal world, where the man has to propose, and they are deeply connected. But maybe for trivial things like ethnicity or your family, your background, the marriage doesn't work. They don't end up getting married. She's had one. And people, the society will start counting, oh, you dated that person. That wasn't her intention. She kept herself. She felt like she's found someone that she could get married to. She found someone that she could connect with. And we will now start labeling that person for what the person has done. So it's not everybody that has had sex before marriage that deliberately went out lustfully to engage in sexual adultery with everybody.
Some did it responsibly.
Some were responsible. Some felt like, I am already married. Some just had this emotional, it was feverish. Yes, because literally we mustn't ignore. Some women are naturally free
to the case in point. Because I mean, I had the opportunity to watch a bit of that show, and the Bam Bam lady didn't come across as that kind of irresponsible person
at all.
She came across as, she actually came across as a responsible young lady who met somebody and stuck with that person.
And fell in love.
And fell in love. She actually, I saw real love in this, where she actually fell in love with the person. So when a young person says, I'm falling in love with this person, is that the passport to begin to engage in this activity?
How do we, I think the question should be that when two young people are in love, how do we draw them back from getting into sexual immorality? Because at the end of the day, you might genuinely both be in love, but when you now taint it with sex, anything can go wrong within that relationship, since it is not tied by contract of, say, you are married. Anything goes wrong, you now already have sexual relationship. So how do we now tell them that don't indulge in sex until you are legally married? How do we have that conversation with someone?
That's what she's answered, and that is where you have to do it for yourself.
No, I'm doing it for myself. I'm in love with this person. I really love him. He's shaking me. He's shaking my body. My body is shivering. If he touches me, everywhere is turned upside down. What do I do?
To be feverish anyway.
But what do I do?
So I think I've forgot it. Okay, so what I was trying to say is there are reasons why people. Okay, when a woman decides to have that sexual relationship with someone, since we're concentrating on the ladies right now, you need to know that the consequences you have to carry. And this is what I mean, that sometimes, especially with women, we feel that when we have had a sexual relationship with someone, when the relationship breaks off, then we think, after giving you my all. Do you understand? So if you are willing to do that, be willing to also accept
the value you put on that, because it's based on the definition you put on that.
Yeah, so
some people don't define it like that.
Yeah, so people don't look at it like that. Some people see it, but I just want to have a good time, and I have a good time. But then some people feel that I want to have a relationship, a serious. You hear people say, right now I'm ready for a committed relationship or for a serious relationship. I'm looking for someone to marry. But sex for me is different from that. So if you perform that act and it does not work out, don't say that that sex you did after giving you that was on you. Right. And it's on him as well. It was your decision because you can still have a relationship with someone. After all, we've heard of people who do not have sexual relationship with the person that they are in a relationship with. Have it with someone else and marry the one that they don't have a sexual relationship with. Sex does not guarantee marriage. Not sex does not also guarantee marriage.
Somebody was telling me about a story about the young lady. She was like the Aristo chick. That Aristo is supposed to be somebody that actually goes around with older men. She was like a bronze girl in Unilag, like prominent. Okay. When this girl finally got married, she got the biggest fish in Nigeria. Correct. So people don't want to be,
so I'm there. We're not having the real conversations.
So let's have
the real conversations. Is that when you are in a relationship, do you guys talk about the idea of having sex or not? boyfriend, girlfriend, do you guys discuss with each other that, do we want to have sex in this relationship? And agree on going forward if you will and if you will not. We know for a fact a lot of women, I would dare to say that 98% of women that engage in sex before marriage didn't want it before marriage. It was cajoled into it. Most of them. I'm not saying everybody. I don't say 100%. I'm talking about people that have engaged with. I didn't want it. Because we've been brought up to feel that we must wait to marriage. So it tends to happen when you are being convinced to do it. So if you have that conversation before, in that relationship, as you're getting in that, is this relationship meant for marriage? People will see you as being aggressive, but you must be aggressive about protecting what is valuable to you.
Get a word in from you.
And you're going to break. You rush me.
Okay, let me go to break. When I come back, we'll continue this conversation and take a few calls and tweets. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Welcome back. So before the break, you want to say something?
Yeah, so I wanted to answer your question about a Ron's girl who finally landed the big fish. And other people were on the sidelines watching this bad person. How can this bad person get this person? Now, there are a lot of things that make a man stay glued to you. It's not about sex. It has nothing to do with sex. Good character, I'm telling you, hold on. Good character is there. Respect is there. Your ability to sustain the man's interest is what keeps him with you, not whether you are giving it to him or not. And because these Ron's girls have sampled people, they have mastered the art of sustaining a man's interest.
Yes. Pause. But, I don't want us to celebrate Ron's girls.
No, I'm not celebrating them.
So you're saying I say sample?
No. Sample in, I'm not talking about having sexual relations.
Have had friendships
with people. So you have dated people, you've studied them, you've seen what works and what doesn't. You have an idea. But those ones who shield themselves, more like protecting themselves, don't have that experience. And sometimes they get good guys, sometimes they don't. Okay, so it has nothing to do with that.
YK wanted to add one or two things. YK, are you there?
I'm here.
In the building. YK, go ahead. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm feeling you, Gary Obiajulu.
Thank you, ma.
Of course you are.
Go ahead, YK. What are your thoughts on this?
You see, I think if you want to keep yourself, I agree with something Chocolate said earlier. If you want to keep yourself, let it be for yourself, not for because you want to marry. Or this. A lot of women go into marriages and they're virgins and they have never had orgasms.
Hey, YK, let's speak our words carefully now. I don't want to wahala.
No, that is an ordinary word.
They've not gotten the glory. They've not reached the glory. Please, don't go there. Don't English word.
No, listen, I'm not using a dirty word. It's part of life. Part of life. So these young women, because they are looking for that thing,
glory.
They have to cheat on their husband.
Hell. Okay.
Because they don't have there's no satisfaction. The man can't satisfy them, they can't satisfy the man. Then they start looking for outside enjoyment. So why you are one of the ones that I know one particular girl. I thought she was a virgin. I believe she was very scarf, going to church every minute. The next thing she was pregnant and had a baby for a married man. So let it be for yourself, not because of. That's why. I feel you, Dare.
Thank you, YK. All right, let me come to Mariam. Go ahead.
So YK for me is if we're talking about orgasms, I mean, are we saying that people should? Oh, sorry, it's an English word. Please. Are we saying that people should, how many of the people are you going to sample until you find the one that gives you the orgasm? Is it not better to try it inside your marriage?
The glory!
Before you find the glory, it's better to do it in the marital home and sample each other until you find the glory between yourselves. Because I would not advise my daughter or a younger person to go out and be let's find the glory. I'm going somewhere. I just wanted to answer that. Big fish. We need to talk about big fish. Who this big fish is. We need to talk about what this success is. Oh, they ended up being married, and then it sounds very fairy tale, like happily ever after, and then we close the book. But the thing is that there's a story after that. We talked about someone, we've talked here about someone who had a sexual relation that was traumatic for her. And and when her husband is talking about it, they talk about how it affected her marriage today. So the thing is, sex is not just something that you do and leave, you know. It affects us somehow. And especially how often you do it or how the different people that you do it with. So it's important that our big fish is not who you end up with or that you ended up with a big man. Because that does not... They say big fish. When people say big fish, when they say the aristocrat ended up with a big fish, it's either she ended up with someone who has a lot of money or who has a lot of, you know, who is rich and things like that. But that's not a big fish for me. The big fish is she happy? The big fish for her is she happy where she is?
So I like the angle of the story after, because we don't know, we only just see the she got married. But there could be consequences of that act that she's experiencing afterwards. Let me come to talk about
I think that we need to clarify that. Honestly, when somebody tells you not to engage...
let me pause you. Somebody calling from Mina. Good morning, are you there? Okay. Good morning, sir. Abdul, thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I'm waiting for you to connect me.
You're live.
Yes, I'm there. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everything?
Very well.
Yeah, the topic is very, very important and necessary.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the both religion we have in Nigeria, Christian and Islam, none of them advise sex before marriage. And it has side effects, positive side effects. Number one, any lady that has sex before marriage, if the husband knows, there will be lack of trust between the marriage. And in any marriage, if there is no trust, then that is not a marriage. That is number one. Number two, some cultures think that that is the best way to have sex before marriage, which I believe no religion permits that, because there is that respect for any lady that can be a virgin up to her husband's house.
Hello, Abdul.
Oh, what happened?
What happened?
So, Sherry, I feel we live in such a one-sided society that puts women under undue pressure for everything. Sex happens between two people, man and woman. Every religion preaches abstinence from sex for both male and female. Both male and female should be held accountable for getting involved in sex before marriage. It is not a burden for the woman to carry, and men are allowed to enjoy themselves or do whatever they want to. Literally, it's not even an enjoyment. Because when we think about it, if you analyze the challenges of having sex before marriage, and I have engaged with people that 10, 15 years after, down the line, when you think about what you've done in the past, if you think about the number of people that have seen you naked, that have gotten inside your body, it's not about, don't have sex because you want to catch a man. Not having sex is not because you want to catch a man. Having sex is not going to catch you a man. Catching a man is not the ultimate goal of your life. Thank you. Because you can become the next president of Nigeria, and some twats in one corner will be saying that I've been there, done that. I've been there. Everything she's forming like she's a G, I've been there. She used to come to my house and cook and do all of that. Hold yourself with pride. Think of the best and biggest dream you can have and hang it on your sex that I'm not going to have sex. I don't want any man to sit down and be thinking that the only person that has a right to see my body and be able to lord it is the person that is my husband. Because when we attach it to many other things, we will lose the value of what this sex is supposed to be.
Very good. So, but in addition to that, I was doing a study recently, and I realized that it was a sex conference. And then I realized that when you have multiple partners as a woman, you are leaving bits and pieces of yourself with those people. And in the long run, it comes back to haunt you. We had a lot of testimonies of women saying that when they are having sexual relations with their husband, they are remembering one other person who does it this way and the other person who goes it that way, and it affects that. There are more people in the marriage. You know, and they gave an example, really, like you get a glue, a paper glue, you paste it here, you take it off, you paste it here. As you are taking it off, it's losing its ability to glue. And so when you have shared all that, your ability to glue with different people, it's difficult to glue perfectly with your spouse at the end of the day. So that is what you're going to be telling the young people out there, not because you want a man. But don't glue to several people, because when finally you get that person, it will be difficult to stay together.
Let me take this call. Fantastic. Okay, let me take this call from Nima. Also wanted to add a few opinions on this. Nima, Names. Are you there?
Hello.
Thanks for calling.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
This topic, I should have been on set.
Please, just go.
Yes, because this is my own reality.
Right.
My father has 4 girls, so I grew up hearing how important it is to keep my virginity.
Okay.
But then, chastity is what the Quran preached. Chastity for both sexes. So you see this testing up and down. Even after marriage, it's still a body that you worship God with. So remaining true to your marriage, chaste and everything, and your husband's own only partner, fidelity, that's what they call it. Mutually whatever kind of marriage is also an act of worship. Your entire existence is an act of worship. Those are the values that, when the other day we had the guest who was saying, when you've not tested the value, one of people who tested, whose life it is, for me, that's a value you cannot compromise. It's an entire existence of worship. Your having sex with whoever is a covenant. That's how I grew up. I've seen it happen.
Okay, Nima.
And then I remember at 12, my father told me straight up, the consequence of having sex is on you. Nobody can find out if a man is a virgin or not. Nobody does that test for a man. But it's easy to do for a woman. So there's a reason God plays that button on a woman. So when we want to have this conversation and want to be politically correct, we can be discussing whether men are put on. No, nobody can find out for a man. It is the body, God put it already on it. Okay. So let's have this conversation where girls see it seriously. Okay. Whatever the consequence of having premarital sex is, whether it's, and I've seen people who at 16 got AIDS because they had premarital sex uncontrolled. But I lived a life of worship entirely with my body. Okay. I was raised like that, and that's value I have tested it. If you lock me up at that time with anybody in the room, the first thing I want to do is get out of that circumstance. All right, Nima. Put myself in compromising situations. Okay. I think we should have the conversations where people see these things as values.
Okay, thank you very much, Nima. Thank you for your point.
Not everybody is a Christian. Not everybody is a Muslim. So if you are a Christian, live by the Bible. If you are a Muslim, live by the Bible. If you are not following any of the religion, whichever way you find yourself, being chaste is an advantage to you. Yeah. That's what we're saying. We don't want to give it a religious coloration. Or gender coloration. Somebody will not sit down and say, well, I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Muslim. Yeah. Because when we divide it like that, we are doing it onto religion. Yes, we are doing it in service to God. That's the ultimate. We are serving God. But we must also realize that there are many people here that have not had the opportunity of knowing Christ or knowing Islam. At all. And yet they have to live a life.
Okay. For me, is the gender angle, which is a man. A man, you cannot tell if a man is a virgin or not. That is not what is important. The importance, as we said, is chastity. And for me, I think this is a conversation that we do not talk about often, how it affects men. Men too have the problem of having so many sexual partners that they find it difficult to stick to one person. Yeah. So we have that problem of men are scum, men cheat. But the thing is, they have used their youth to sleep with different people that by the time they get to that stage, when they've met someone that they love and want to spend their life with, they cannot even give her that fidelity that is needed.
They don't have the capacity to do it anymore.
I heard something. I don't know if it's true, because a friend was giving me one gist. Said that this particular guy had always been very, very active with multiple partners as a young man. So fast forward to when he got married, he just realized that the ability to perform and stay for quite a while had dwindled. And so it was a problem. And so they started going to the doctors to find out what has happened. And then they told him that you have used up almost all your time.
It's not medical, it's not a complete medical issue.
Let's take a few for
Peace Swag says we need to also understand that there are women out there who can't do without sex in a relationship. I broke up with a lady because she wanted sex just a few weeks after we started dating. There's a problem somewhere. Kola Wale says, sex, 45% see it as a way to catch fun. 30% see it as a way to cement their relationship with their partner. 15% think abstinence from it can make your partner want you more, while the remaining 10% stick to the teachings of their religion or parents. That's according to Kola Wale.
Okay, let me take this one. Okay, let me take this one, please. Okay. This person says, Mariah, school has resumed though. Adults are watching. Which one is glory?
I like that.
So Prince Evo says, premarital sex is for worldly people, not for Christians.
Freedom says, TVC, you ladies, growing up when you were growing up, you weren't disposed to things like we are. Many women try inculcating these virtues into this generation, but there are a lot of things waiting to swallow up your teachings. We have the media, we have the internet, we have peer pressure that we live in. Prince Ajibade says, if a lady chooses to keep herself, let it be her choice and not because of pressure or whatever it is. Most of the so-called good girls end up with the wrong man and the bad girl with the best man. Do those things that bring you happiness, because that's
let's drop the the intimacy part. We're going to break. When we come back, I want us to talk to that young lady now directly. What can she do to be more sociable, to be more more, what's the word I'm looking for? Accessible, more friendlier, because a lot of people find out they're
eligible.
Yeah, that's the word, more eligible. They find themselves so stuck in their world of education, and same with the gentlemen too. Find their world so stuck in their world that they don't know how to even start dating. They don't know how to interact. They just see that everybody out there is, things are happening, but we are here doing our work and nothing is happening. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. We have loads of tweets. Yes, Obiajulu, go ahead.
Bilikis Mafe says, this I agree with Obiajulu, for themselves, for their dignity, self-esteem and sense of worth, so that even if marriage doesn't come along, they won't feel miserable or that they are missing out or lose it regrettably. Abayomi says, a wise man said, if I do good, I feel good. If I do bad, I feel bad. That's my religion. Everyone should be allowed to do what works for them. Sex before or after marriage should be out of individual idiosyncrasy. Life is not the axiomatic quality of mathematics.
Ray says, I think to get a person who will respect, cherish, love you and all, I think what to do is mingle more with people, ask questions, talk to people and read more. You would gain knowledge on how to be with someone who would love you for you and not sex if you don't want to. It's what I think. Andrew in Streatham says, talking about sex in an ultra-conservative nation like Nigeria is dicey. Evil Mariah is struggling where to steer this ship. At times, I feel Nigeria is living in 1919 and not 2019. They're uncomfortable or not know where to put their face when talking about sex. Glory, mom. Then Adewale says, please let me say this. I'm a 24-year-old and I've dated a few girls from different tribes. Firstly, sex is something every young person wants to try. And I feel no amount of preaching will stop you unless you have a personal relationship with God.
That's my point.
Ibiane Dominic says, virginity before marriage doesn't guarantee a happy home. If spouses' attitude to each other is poor, promiscuity is bad, both religion or not. Most men won't marry a stranger. How many of you were virgins before marriage? Please be realistic for real. Kyle Kaka says, for your peace and personal dignity, keep yourself, man or woman. Professor Lambert says,
So for the girl who has been raised to feel as if marriage is the price,
yes,
and she's there doing 5 times daily prayer in the mosque, going to Salatu, and the other girl is in the church, doing other stuff, and they said, in her own, her psyche. Now we're talking about the church and the mosque, the religious ones. We're not talking about the non-religion. So their psyche is, okay, I'm keeping myself, I'm doing all I need to do as a church girl, as a Muslim girl, and yet it's not happening. What can we advise her if she was your young sister, if she was your younger sister? What would you advise her? How can she make herself a bit more eligible? Same thing for the young boy. How can he make himself more eligible to be appreciated by a young lady?
So the first thing for me is to build value in that young person. If you have value, you love who you are, you love yourself, you will know that you won't get into anything that will bring harm to you. And if you're not responsible enough to handle the consequences of sex, because you love yourself, you know that I won't bother, because I know that if anything falls out of it, I may not be able to handle that consequence. Once you get that sorted, let the girl mingle. Let her go out there. We have churches that have youth...
the youth meetings, singles and singles.
Celebration, singles meetings, and let her mingle. Don't restrict her. You have to come back at so time. You must not talk to so and so person. Give her that. Just your job is to make sure that she loves herself enough to want to protect herself. Let her go out there and interact.
Let me take this call from Tunji. Tunji, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
I'd like to share a personal experience. Okay. I'm a Christian, and due to peer pressure, I had sex for the first time in 2010. I was 25. And basically, it happened with a woman that was 9 years older than me. Now, let's fast forward till date. Right now, I have a baggage that experience has kept with me. I have dated a lot of girls. They are either my age mate or they are younger. But I never have sex with them. And they thought that this guy is such an amazing guy. He's chaste. That was not it. I had a baggage. I was not sexually attracted to them. As in, it's a crazy thing. I was sexually attracted to women that are far older than me. So it became it's still an issue. So this issue of premarital sex is crazy because I don't want to say a covenant. I would say baggages are left behind.
So it leaves a permanent scar on you, Tunji. That's what you're telling us. It leaves us that permanent scar. A lot of people don't assess it, but the truth is that it's there. It's there. And usually it comes to creep up on you after, gradually after maybe you've settled down in marriage. But as I said, there are always exceptions to the rule. Sometimes it might not be that for everybody.
Well, so the question, the question you said, so what, for the girl to be more eligible, I agree that she should spend time to build herself, to understand herself, to make friends. So some weeks back, I went for that tree planting thing, and it was a group of young people, all of them really young, and we went to the forest. They were learning a lot of things, and that's the thing. Right now, young people can engage in so many. I mean, the world is open to you. There's so many fun things that you can be doing while meeting people and understanding how they think without getting to sex. Sex is a lazy way of dating, you know. It's just a cop-out. You just feel, I mean, anybody can have sex, you know, but it takes time, it takes effort, it takes to even have to build a relationship, to
have an intelligent conversation.
You sit down with someone, you're having a conversation with the person, disagree with the person, understand how to make up with the person without using that.
The story I was telling you about the person that caught the big fish, there were two sisters. The sister was more reserved and conservative. This one that caught the big fish, though she was a rose girl, she was fun to be with. Even people knew that when you're hanging out with this girl, she's full of life. There's so many things happening, she's exploring, you know. So she was bubbly. Compared to her sister who just...
No, okay,
so in that kind of situation,
let's be careful.
Now, so I want us to define that. In that kind of situation,
let's be careful because we have personalities.
Do we ask? No, I'm asking the question. So, do we ask the conservative young person to be more fun and go out there to be bubbly
it and become who she's not?
Let me tell you. I was sorry. I was very, you know, quiet and I would say conservative. So I used to read a lot. But when people meet me one-on-one, they'll be like, wow, you're so knowledgeable, or you're so intelligent, or you're so smart. It would not take away from you. That is your own way of knowing someone, of getting you. And then there's something I feel that social media has done for a lot of introverts, which is a lot of introverts can get on social media, they put up a post, and you have people come, you know, in your DMs. I'm like, that was such an, you know, insightful, intelligent conversation or something like that.
Let me take this call from Ogudu, I think. Thanks for calling. Are you there?
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Speaking about, I would like to attack this from a different angle, but still on the same question Muraya asked. Now, talking about the male and the female folk, a system where when the other lady in red, if I'm correct, said you should allow them to go all out. Every individual, even adult, you have somebody you look up to who, of course, will guide you through a process. I take myself, for instance, while I was quite younger, I had my dad who, of course, engaged me in activities, who, of course, took my mind off the female folk and all of that, things that could lead me into trouble, let me put it that way. Now, I carefully followed up. Even when he gave me tasks to carry on, as a young man, he ensured that looking good is good business at all times, not looking expensive, no, looking good. And from there, I developed the craft of designing cards. I got attraction from people, but it still didn't make me lose my focus. Built up on all of that, fast forward into the university, I still didn't get distracted. I wanted to look for something that would make me much more admirable to my fans. I got into talking and addressing the crowd, up into the student union, all through that period. Not until my 300 level, I felt it was time to really have a relationship. And I went in, though, like the last speaker, quite an older person, though quite an experience. But guess what? Just like what Topper mentioned, or the other lady by the side there, you still have that memory of the past. You can't just wash it off.
All right. Thank you very much, Andy. For point taken.
So in answering the question, I feel that for one, marriage isn't the ultimate goal for life. Many people get happily into marriage and for one reason or the other, even as virgins, break up. And so that's, I'm keeping myself for marriage, ends up not working, and it's not a slight to anybody.
So not for Nima, but not for everybody. So let's not it's not a slight to anybody if your marriage fails, because many women are suffering through that because they feel like, oh, I don't want to be counting men. You have a life, live your life. If you're single and you are religiously, you are spiritual. Let me not put in a religious connotation. You have a spiritual relationship with God. You follow either Islam or whatever religion, Christian, to connect with God, and you want to still get married. In such a case, the goal will be for you to live your life. You don't wait to be married. You go out, you do your life, you engage with people, you be the best in your area of interest so that that man would see you. And because
we're drawn to what we find admirable. Yeah. So if a man sees you and admires you because you're doing something fantastic, it's not when you are slutty or half naked or you're going anywhere that is wrong. It is that you are accomplishing something successful in your life, no matter how small the scale might be, then it's admirable for the person to come and meet you.
Okay, let me take this call from DBC. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I love this, your view.
Thank you.
I'm a not the profession. Around this 9 a.m., I'm in the city room watching you.
Thank you.
I love you very much.
Thank you.
This particular program we are talking about, sex before marriage is not the best. I want to use myself as an example. The person I fell in love with 20-something years ago, I lost my virginity to him. I was having the intention of marrying him, but fortunately and unfortunately, because I'm happily married now to another person, the marriage did not work well. But anytime I come across with him, anytime I'm with my husband, my mind usually goes to him. I don't know why. He himself is happily married with children. I'm happily married with children. So for my advice to the youth, especially the female, it's not the best. As one of you have rightly said, it depends on what you want for yourself. Not that you want to satisfy your husband to be, but what you want for yourself.
Fantastic.
Not because of today, but because of tomorrow.
Thank you very much,
JBC.
Thank you very much.
May I say?
One tweet, please. P-Swag says, a relationship is not about sex. It's more than that. Sex is only a tool in love, not love itself. And I think that people should note it, that sex is not love. It is just a tool.
Yeah, that's so, I want us to know that there are different personalities. Yeah. Everybody has different personalities. And the person who will be attracted to your personality is there. So there's no one personality that is better than the other personality. It depends on who you are meeting. Some men... So
you're conservative, remain conservative.
Remain conservative, but update your personality so that you are a pleasant person. Because you see people who are conservative and then you come close to them and they are rude. They don't have a good personality. They don't have a good, they're not pleasant. And so you bad attitude, and then they run away. You see somebody who is happy, and you come close and the person insults you very easily. So people will run away. So it's not about trying to change your personality to be more outgoing, but update who you are and be better.
Yeah, I wanted to also
I have a call from Dublin. Let me take this call before I lose it. Morning, are you there?
Welcome to the show.
Hello.
All the way from
Hello, good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, see, the situation of a lady getting, having sex before marriage is very dicey. Do you know, again, it depends on what you really want for yourself as a woman, right? Because some people find it like part of exploration, like they just want to explore, the good, the bad, and, before they get married, settle down. Some people see it like it's a part of discipline. I know this is part of our own culture and morals and all those things, but in the end of the day, it's good for a lady, even the guys, to go out there, to explore, to have experience. But it's not all about sex. I'm not saying you must have sex in your relationship before you get married. It's up to you in the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mariam.
Yes, I just want to say something about personality. Growing up, because of the sort of personality I had, I was constantly compared with people who were more outgoing and bubbly. And I was made to feel like I wasn't enough because of my personality. I had to, I was not just good enough. But I found out that a lot of the girls who had the bubblier personalities, every personality has its benefits or its advantages. So when it comes to dating, you have so many men drawn to this bubbly one, and they're swatting men left, right, and center. But for you that is not as conservative, you find people who are, until they're not trying. They're like, okay, see, to go to this person, I need to...
Ready.
Yes. So what happens is that you almost get the best of the best. Finally come to you. But those ones, they have to now try and find, is this person a good person? Yeah, they need to sift through it. So whatever personality you have, just realize it has its benefits and understand what the benefits is and capitalize on that. And then what does not work,
what
give
you're
you your
saying,
personality.
as simple as it sounds, a lot of young people can actually be liberated by that statement because they really feel like not being bubbly makes them so unpopular amongst their peers. So they feel like I'm not enough. And you're saying, even though you're quiet or you're conservative, it means that you're not the one that goes around. So you find the benefits.
Growing yourself.
So find the benefits in your own personality and appreciate it. It's really important.
A lot of people have been going to explore, and even on Twitter, many people say, "Oh, young people want to explore. They are curious to know a lot about this thing." And I would say that you can explore in a relationship. Maria said it several times that dates frequently, date widely. But dating is not the same as sex with every one of them. Exploring is not the same thing as having sex with all these people. You don't need to sexually explore every relationship and everyone you date to know them. Because the fact is, our emotions are powerful. And when you explore sexually, you would have emotional attachment and you'll be able to, you won't be rational. So, and I'm saying this for the young person that is looking at it like, these people, they are old women. They are already married, they have children. They've already done all these things. They're not coming here to be preaching for us to be passed. I think that you can learn from our experience and what we've gone through and what we're saying, or you can decide to enter into the matter and be crying later that if I had known, I had heard. And it's wiser for you to learn from other people.
I have an experience that I wish I'm thinking that should I share or not, but let me take this call first. Morning, are you there?
Hey, ma'am.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning. I'm first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, the point I wanted to make was some of the ladies, they don't have anything to put into the relationship rather than sex. They don't have any advantage to add to the relationship except only sex. So that's my own point of view. Thank you.
True. That's true. So that's your selling point. That's nothing else.
And
wow, what a loss.
Also, I want boys to also know that you can make a choice of whether you should have sex or not, because you also have another sort of pressure, which is you're old enough, so you should have sex. A girl comes and she gives herself to you, and when you say no, you're looked at as if you're not good enough. You are good enough, and you have the right to make the decision when you want to have sex.
You want
and who you want to have sex with. Men also have the right to choose whether they want to keep their virginity until marriage. It does not make you less of a man.
Recently, because taking a cue from what you just said now, that you date as many as you want and all of that, so that you can have. And I saw on online when somebody was saying the very first date, he invited the girl to the house, and the girl refused to come, and he was upset that so you don't trust me, you can't come to my house. And everybody came after him that on the first date, what is she coming to your house to do? Why don't you guys meet in an open space? See, dating of our time is different from dating these days. First date, they want to see, they want to do
everything.
It's not like we're having friends, we're hanging out together, we meet in Mr. Big's today.
See, that's why we should have that conversation.
With our young people.
And they should have in a relationship.
Let me have this call. Thanks for calling. Are you there? Andrew, I believe. Hello, Andrew, are you there? We lost that call.
Mario, because I've been told that when the person I told that I'm going to be desperate, and we've said this thing before, even when we were on the couch and all of that, that when somebody is asking you out, ask them for why.
Exactly.
Somebody was sending me messages back to back, and I asked the guy, I said, why are you suddenly sending me messages back to back? What are you looking for? What are you looking for? You know, you're married, I'm married. What are you looking? And I'm not. I'm not using style to ask it. It was a straight text. You sent messages 3 days back to back. What are you looking for? So if somebody is saying, let's go and watch a movie, what are you looking for? You're a serious-minded girl. You have a life. You have a career. You have purpose. You want to get married. Don't let any guy come and waste your time. Ask him. What are you looking for? What are you trying to achieve?
Well, on the first date, okay?
No.
It's not first date.
For a married woman
like I said, no. It's not even the first date.
No, we're
the third day. I said, this guy sent him messages 3 days back to back. No, as a single person, you ask him out 3 times. I'm giving you 3 opportunities. What are you looking for? Are you my friend? Are you just my friend? No, are you just my friend? No. You cannot tell me that, no, I just want you to be my friend. So I will recalibrate how I'm seeing you. A lot of girls out there.
It's friendship now. What's
that they waste them? 8 years of friendship.
No. See,
you must define your relationship.
No.
Let me share my own experience. As I told you before, I dated. Dating, I dated well, but I was very clear that I wasn't ready for that big jump. So I hung out, and usually my dating after 3 months, 2 months, they're tired. They're like, they move on. they get tired. My mother was upset. Why you don't quarrel? What's going on? Every 3 months, I find somebody else. I mean, I'm not sleeping with them. That's why they're tired. Because they get tired. But you must explore. But you see, my questions that I'm trying to choose my words very carefully. When I got married, and I think Tokwe started this Sexually Confident Women, it was tough for me. That glory scenario was tough. Jesus. You don't understand. It was a tough situation for me because I was clueless. It took a long time for me to adjust. So my point is that for a young person who is trying to be very chaste, how do we encourage them such that when they get into that job, am I speaking in parables?
No, it's clear. I'll say it in a nicer way. Many, when I did the Sexually Confident Women Conference twice, and I did it because I had engagement with many women that are married, happily married to good men, but do not have
the glory of God.
They don't have the glory of God, and they are not enjoying the other room. It is a chore. So we did that conference, and the feedback was phenomenal, being that if you wait till you get married, you don't need to be worried that it won't be fun. You and your spouse can learn. And there are many professionals that will take you through everything you are trying to explore now. I tell you, you will explore with guilty conscience before marriage. Then you get into the marriage. You will explore with clear mind. Confidence. You will do everything you want to do. So I tell them,
there's nothing as good as sex after marriage.
Oh, sugar. Everything you are trying to sample
with confidence.
You'll be in a hurry. It's time. One night, phone call, the protection. I say, in marriage, you are free. Anything you want to do, you can do. Just wait and enjoy.
Let me take this final call. Good morning. Are you there? Okay, this today's topic. First time caller. Review after that. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to encourage young people not to have sex before marriage.
Okay. Good, sir. Please call him back. Hello, are you there?
Oh,
he's there. Okay. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, my experience. The very first time I had sex, was I was in a dire situation. I was homeless, and the person that sells food to me on the street, I became friends with her, and I had sex with her. That's how I lost my virginity. Fast forward, 12 years later, I was a Christian, I backslided, and I was now praying. That lady I had sex with 12 years ago, while I was having prayers, came back from the bar beach, came outside from the bar beach, and came and dropped my teens bag onto me. And she said something. So, see, nobody has ever escaped from her before.
Oh my God.
To the young man or young woman out there,
this is spiritual
we
connotation.
are spiritual beings. Don't have sex. Muslim, Christian, anybody who you are, don't have sex before marriage. It is a powerful covenant that the devil uses. It has sent kings back. It has sent them back to the village. Kings. It has destroyed glories. It has brought people into slavery generations. Sex is a covenant. And to the woman especially, there is a reason God put label there. I'm not discriminating that a boy should go into sex, but to the woman especially.
All right, thank you very much.
A boy can impregnate 10 girls.
Point taken. Thank you very much, Olashukwu.
I think we should also teach our young people that there's time for everything. We don't have to rush these things. When my house help, before I sent her, we started misbehaving. I called her, I said, this thing you want to start, he go tire you. He go tire you. I said, Daddy Kosi will touch me sometimes. I'll shout at him, please, I'm not in the mood. He don't tire me. It happens. So if you want to eat everything right now, when it's now time for you to start enjoying it, you have lost it. It will tire you. Wait for your time. Wait for when you are responsible enough to handle the consequences. And move on and enjoy yourself. Right now, me and Tobe, we can take our husbands to the club and twerk. We're allowed. Abi? I'm not going to be looking back and forth. Is anybody coming? Is anybody going to see me?
I cannot take my own husband to the club.
Oh, Miriam! Sorry, darling.
Can you imagine? Mariah and I were worshiping. We were worshiping in the other room.
We have to round up.
Yes, we have tweets.
We have to round up quickly.
Okay.
But, Andrew again says, this topic is walking a tightrope. Please, Maria, let's have it again. Barb says, I read so many posts recently where girls were mocking guys that they visited them but couldn't have sex with them.
Oh my God.
So talk more to the ladies. Many of them are sex crazy.
Bilikis Mafe says, please talk about self-discovery. Building self-esteem for teens and adolescents from the angle of parenting. I wish that someday when I'm home, I can meet with you. We could plan something like a seminar together with male inclusive. I think that we should never leave our men behind.
Olareweju says, Timo speaks, abstinence from sex is just one of the many ingredients that make a good marriage. If you succeed in staying chaste before marriage, you have simply scored 1/10 of the main things you need for a successful marriage. So there are a lot more
factors.
Yes, factors that
so
make you
Hold
have
Something
a successful
Entertainment says, sex is sweet, but sweeter when you're in love. Sex is self-satisfaction when you sex outside love.
We have to round up. I think what we've all agreed here is that if you're going to do it for yourself. If you're going to hold yourself, do it for yourself. If you're going to do it for yourself, not because the price is marriage. Because with or without your virginity or not, marriage, that doesn't guarantee happy marriage. So let's be responsible in our activities. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on the show. I hope you learned a few things, as we have. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.